stretch out your legs if you need to. All right. Class 4. Let's review last class for Serena. You guys can tell her what went down.
We're looking at the qualities of a teacher. When we choose a teacher, what qualities do you look for in a teacher?
Yes.
There's 10 qualities. But if the teacher doesn't have all 10, at least they have the first 3.
Yes. And I don't think I mentioned this last class, but they were actually spoken by Master Sangha, these 10. And as Master Sangha was directly he had a direct transmission by Maitreya. Maitreya is, well, they say, there's a debate, but they say that he's the next Buddha. Yeah. But depending who you ask, they might say he's already Buddha. He always was Buddha. But that's where these 10 qualities came from. So, yeah, see if you can remember some and tell Serena.
So, go ahead.
Sorry.
You go first.
Number is it Sangha or Asanga?
Asanga.
Yeah, that one. Asanga.
Yeah, he's famous. He was the son of a nun. Remember that story? Yeah, this was a nun who had a dream and she felt she should have children. So she had children with, I think, 2 different, one a king and one a Brahmin. And she gave birth to very important figures in this lineage. So one of them was Master Sangha and the other one was, remember? Vasubandhu. Yeah. Yeah.
Hearing
And,
Vasubandhu. I don't remember. Where do we hear Vasubandhu?
Yeah, well, here, works from him. Yeah, there's lots. So they both did great things. They very important figures. So give me some qualities.
Have morality.
Yes.
As an ethics?
Yes.
They lead a moral life. And
Because you cannot follow somebody who is, stealing stuff, lying to your face. Doesn't make sense. Right?
Although it's interesting how when someone does get famous, there's all the controversy around that person too. Right?
That's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We do hear lots of stories about teachers, where there's controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Doesn't mean that they're a bad teacher. Not necessarily.
And then the power of concentration and stillness. So that would be to meditate.
Focus.
I think one of the Friga was they know the scripture as well.
And it wasn't one of the first 3, but
It is one of the
it
first
is
3.
one that is mentioned.
To
Yeah.
know the scriptures.
That is what I thought that would be.
What are the top 3? Let's start
Mhm.
there.
Also the mindfulness and concentration.
Morality, concentration. I thought it was the scriptures. But
Yeah. Training of wisdom.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
That makes more sense. Wisdom is much higher than knowledge.
Exactly. That's not good to do. You're right.
We call those first three sometimes the three trainings also. Yeah. So morality, concentration, and wisdom. So the concentration refers to being very aware all the time, and that awareness can be
Turn my phone. Is that on now, Mariska?
yeah. I turned it on.
Yeah.
So when you have that awareness, that helps you to live a moral life, right? If you're not aware, if you don't have mindfulness, then it's easy to do whatever. Right? Yeah. So they do really go hand in hand. And then the third one is that wisdom. So then after that, you can name a few more. You don't have to say them in order. So Hogan already said they need to have scriptural knowledge.
They need to know more than the student.
Yeah, they need to know more than the student so they can help them, right?
But yeah, is it like they have excess they have more good qualities than the student?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was like how much they. Yeah, I'm sure it's how much they know too.
Knowing the right order of teaching.
They also have a high understanding of emptiness,
So that
or
was
having
wisdom.
seen it. They don't have to have seen it.
Isn't that
They
the
don't
wisdom
have
level?
to have seen it. And now they separate it into
It's higher.
they ideally they would have seen emptiness directly. Everything is powered up like by a million when someone has seen emptiness and you're in their presence. But those people aren't that easy to come by. So if you cannot find someone, and how do you even know? Because most people will never tell you, yeah, I've seen emptiness directly. So the best you can do is find someone with a high understanding, and then, if you have the virtue to see them as someone who's actually realized it, then that's awesome. Maybe you won't at the beginning, but over time, as you follow them, you start to see them more extraordinary,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What else do we got? Thank you.
How many did you write down, sir?
Do you have 4 so far or 5?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 so far. I've got morality, concentration, knowledge of scripture, wisdom, no more than student, order of teaching, understanding of emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher teaches out of love and not to gain fortune or any other ulterior motive.
Yeah.
Or for wealth.
So their motivation of teaching is pure. They teach out of love for the student.
Teacher has deep-rooted joy in helping others.
Say that again?
Teacher has deep-rooted joy in helping
Deep-rooted
others.
Love it.
Yeah. They're so happy to teach. And they're really happy when they see that the student has some progress, right? Because then they feel like, well, this is worth my time. They're actually putting in practice what I'm trying to tell them. So that makes them very happy. And yeah, they love helping other people. And what's the last one?
Never tire of teaching the same thing over and over again.
They never tire.
They don't tire.
Very
No.
patient.
Yeah. And I mentioned, all of Buddhism comes down to a few simple ideas. So if you are a Buddhist teacher, you are going to have to repeat yourself a million times. And the students that come to you with their questions, there always be this similar questions. The story might be slightly different, but it always comes down to trying to help them understand the emptiness of the situation, teaching them about karma. It always kind of comes down to the same things. So they'll happily teach that over and over and over again, because that'll be the one thing that'll set them free. So that's good. So that was basically last class. Very important to find a teacher. And why is that?
Only a teacher can teach you something, can lead you to something you don't know.
We discussed that last week, that if you want to learn anything, you can learn some stuff on your own. You can learn some stuff through YouTube videos and books, for sure. But you can only get so far. If you meet a teacher that you see as in a certain light, who has conquered all of their crap, who's gone through everything that you need to go through, then they can truly help you. And I was talking about a concert pianist. If you want to be a concert pianist, you're going to have to find a teacher that is on that level, And you can teach yourself some basics through books and stuff. But in the end, if you want to be really good, you're going to need a teacher who has done it all, who understands very deeply what it is that you're trying to do. And they'll be able to guide you and tell you, okay, this is where you need work. It's hard to see it yourself, right? When you see yourself all the time, every day, every minute of the day, it's hard to see where you need work. And the teacher can easily point that out because they're a master at it. They know exactly what needs to be done. So therefore, we need a teacher, and they can help us and they can guide
children.
us. Hey?
Or children.
Or children.
We all have children.
Mm-hmm.
They're our biggest teachers, right?
They're definitely, they will teach us so much. Yeah.
Every time we think we've got it, they say, I don't think so.
Yep.
It's true. I think we're very fortunate, those who have kids, right? Yeah. They'll always manage to find another button to push. Something else that you need to work on. Yeah. And you're forced to always have them in your mind, which is huge, right? As we did the meditation about the food, I didn't mention it, but I did think, one thing that is a bonus when you live with them. It doesn't necessarily have to be your kids, but it can be a partner, or if you live with someone else, that you do include them in trying to get food together, or, when I go shopping, in my mind, I'm like, okay, Mila doesn't like this, Tyne doesn't like that, Jason doesn't like that, Steve doesn't like that, so I have to come up and go through all these things. So it forces me to always think about them in order to make a meal that hopefully everybody will like, which, I feel all the time, but that to decide, the effort that goes in, it's not just about me feeding myself. So there's that, for sure. But then can we make that even bigger, right? Because can be comfortable to just only care for those people very close to you, but then how about everyone outside of that circle? So that's where we need to work at. Yeah. So last class we talked about the qualities of a teacher. So today we'll talk about the teachings. What qualities do we need to look for in teachings? And what are the qualities of a student? But it all starts with the teacher. Without a teacher, okay. So we want to look today at what is authentic Dharma. And okay. Do you have the reading? Anybody have the reading right there? Do you have the reading?
Reading 9 and 10.
No, that's too bad. I meant to bring the reading. Because there was a
on the
nice.
computer. We can go online.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Basically, what it said in the reading of today, it had this nice little section where it talked about you can go anywhere and dig through old scriptures and text, and you can easily, once you are well versed in what we're studying right now, you can easily pick out what's rubbish and what's like true, you know. There's a lot of teachings out there that are not correct. A lot of Buddhist teachings that are not correct. And how do we know what is correct and what is not? The qualities a good Dharma should have. It starts out with this sentence, so you can repeat after me. Chukung Mela Lotung Drupa Jekyang Tokpa Senden Nichik Miki. So Tokpa is realization, that's in there. Basically what this says, this is Pabonka Rinpoche talking. He says that, okay, I'll just translate word for word. Chu is Dharma, Kung is source, Me is not. So Kung Me means not having a good source. La is 2, Lo is year, Tong is 1,000, Du is 4, Drupa is to practice, Je to do, Kyang is but. So you can do practice for 1,000 years of a Dharma that has no authoritative source, but, okay, then that sentence goes on, which I didn't write down, Nechik Mike, meaning Nechik, Ne is sliver, Chik is 1, so Nechik is 1 sliver, Miki is not to develop. So you you will not attain the tiniest realization if the Dharma isn't authentic. Okay, so you can study for 1,000 years stuff that's not authentic, and you will get exactly that. So when you study something and nothing happens, either two things could be the cause. One, it's not authentic Dharma. 2, you're not practicing properly, or you're not really practicing. Okay? So those are the 2 things that can be going on.
Can you grow beyond that teaching? And so it's not relevant anymore?
Yeah, I think that's, in Buddhism there's so many different schools, right? So there's definitely, for a certain level, people, and you do grow, yeah, you do grow beyond it. So teachings can be very helpful at certain levels, but then there's teachings that are plain wrong, that won't, right? That won't get you there. So they say that what is authentic Dharma? The first one is the teachings must be spoken by the Buddha. Shakyamuni Buddha. Okay? The Buddha that came to the planet that we are living on. So they must be spoken by him. So we must distinguish between the words of the Buddha and then a teacher's own idea, right? It's dangerous when you're a teacher and you're teaching stuff and you start to bring your own stuff in it. It's always good to make sure you say, okay, I think personally this is my experience or something, right? Making sure that you distinguish that students aren't thinking that is the Buddha talking. So the Buddha's teachings that are preserved, we call that the Kangir. I wrote it down right there, Kangir. Okay. Kan means the word, and Gir means translated. Because it was originally spoken and written in Sanskrit. And then they translated it into Tibetan. They brought it up to Tibet and they translated it there. They created a whole language for it to translate it. And there's not very much left. There were, at the beginning, 300,000 texts of Lord Buddha kept, and now there's about 1,100 left. So there's not very much. Destroyed in war, yeah. In India, and then later in Tibet too, by the Chinese, right? So there's not very much. So these teachings in the Kangir, so those are the words directly spoken by Lord Buddha. It consists out of teachings on vowed morality, teachings on the perfection of wisdom, so on teachings on emptiness, right? And then it says 3 sections of sutra, teachings by the Buddha that are not secret, and then tantra, teachings by the Buddha which is secret. And we've spoken about that before, that tantra, these are secret teachings. We cannot understand them unless we have the virtue to understand them. And in order to have the virtue to understand them, we need to practice what we're studying right now, the whole foundation. And by virtue of doing that, Tantra will just happen. You don't need to do anything for it. It'll just come and you can understand it. So you can go to initiations, tantric initiations, but if you, big chances are that nothing will happen if you don't have any seeds in your mind's room to understand what's happening. So that's the first. So we want the teachings to be spoken by Lord Buddha. Then the second one is Pandit Kyunsawa, meaning Pandit is like a wise man. Kyunsawa means cleaning out problems. So, meaning that there were great historical masters, very wise men, who have cleared out any corruptions of the stored scriptures. So they have cleaned out wrong ideas from the teachings by studying, debating, analyzing, and determining if the teaching is accurate or not, and comparing it to what they know is pure. So like I said, sometimes there's just wrong teachings, like teachings on emptiness. Sometimes you hear teachings that emptiness just means like there's nothing, or yeah, which is really wrong. In this lineage, what we learn that emptiness is not that, you know. We don't go to nothing. What our goal is the permanent cessation of all of our suffering, right? So if you meditate on nothing will happen. You cannot remove all your suffering by going to black space, you know. It doesn't work like that. You know what we say, emptiness means things don't have a nature. Things don't have a nature. And another wrong teaching would be nothing matters, you know. Emptiness means nothing matters, so you can do whatever you want. Nothing exists, nothing matters. It's not correct. In this lineage, we say, because things are empty, everything matters. Because things are empty, we can become a Buddha. If things were not empty, we could not become a Buddha, because everything would be fixed. We couldn't change it. But because things are empty, we can become Buddha.
So all possibility exists.
Yeah.
Not no possibility.
Yeah, it's like potential, right? So there's wrong teachings out there. So these wise men try to clean it out. And, you know, an example of how things were debated, I think I've told the story before, but an Indian master, Kamalashila, he wanted to teach what emptiness was. He said it was a lack of cause and effect. Then there was a Chinese master called Washang, and he said emptiness means nothing. So they debated that in court for days, and the Indian master won. And then what happens is the Chinese man was escorted, and his teachings were forbidden. So that's how they debate. They debated for days, you know. And then the idea of emptiness being nothing is then banned from Tibet. So that's no longer accepted. So that's how they did it. So then there's the Tangir. So we have the Kangir and the Tangir. The Tangir is all the commentaries. So they're translated classical commentaries by early Indian masters, such as Asanga, Nagarjuna, Vasubandhu, Dharmakirti. So they are all analyzing the words of the Buddhas. Okay, and this is what we study, right? Because often if we don't use a commentary, it's hard for us to understand. So the commentaries help us to understand. So the Tengir contains 3,400 scriptures. Some of those are 3 pages, some of them are 1,000, up to 1,000 pages.
So you all think considered scriptural is what the Buddhist book, and the commentaries are not considered scriptural?
They are.
They are.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, as long as the commentaries are. There's wrong commentaries out there too, right? So,
The ones that we're going to come across are the wrong thing.
yeah. I think it's very easy to interpret it, difficult words in many different ways, right? So these are all realized masters that have done the commentaries. So we trust these guys for sure.
I find this so interesting because I grew up in a very traditional home, and so I spoke a number of languages. So the language of, for instance, our commentaries are all in Aramaic, most of them, and it's similar, the same thing. So you have the scripture, and then you have all these commentaries on each little word, and all this one thinks this, and this one thinks that, and this one thinks that, and how do you know which one? And so all the debate. So that's what the classes were, right?
Mm-hmm. What scriptures was this that you grew up with?
The Hebrew Bible, right?
Oh, the Hebrew.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So most of the commentaries are written. I mean, that's written in Hebrew, but most of the commentaries are Aramaic.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you just learn how to, so then it's so, I find it fascinating sitting here a lot of times because it's so much similar in so many places.
Yeah.
Right on the planet.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, very cool indeed. Yeah. So I think it's easy to find corrupted things, even like I'm thinking of tankas, you have these amazing Tibetan tankas paintings, and basically what happened is one person had this vision during their meditation, and if they were a good painter, I guess they could paint it themselves. Some of them would hire someone and make them paint what they saw, okay? And then they put words underneath, sometimes a lot of words, sometimes not, to tell a story. And then this would be copied after that by all these Tibetan people. And many Tibetan scholars, many students cannot write, so they just have to copy what they see. And over time, there's many errors, like completely wrong, because they can't read. They don't know what they're writing, right? So I've seen that, and so this is how like corruptions can sneak in over time. It's just like that game that we do, as kids. Yeah, like that, right? So how does it sneak in? And then so these wise men are there to help us clear those out, because they can just sneak in there without us maybe even noticing. So we need to rely on beings who've had the realizations, who really know. And then as we study this stuff for a while, we can recognize, okay, I'm not interested in going to that teaching, you know. I get lots of invitations for speakers or I don't know, of different religions, different yogic meetings and stuff, and I just hear a little blurb. I'm like, okay, no, thanks, I'm not interested because they speak in a different way doesn't feel true to me after studying all of this. So I rather just stick to one thing so I don't get all confused, right? This speaks true to me, so I stick with that.
What about, you're saying they're debating it, but what if you have a corrupted debater? I mean, there's people that are just so good at talking and convincing.
That's true.
Right?
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
You hope not, but
Yeah. I think
That's why it lasts so many
happen.
days.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
you know, like if they were really good, maybe in the first day they'd win, but when it lasts day after day after day, I guess the idea is to find that hole somewhere on either where's the hole.
A wrong idea shouldn't be able to hold. Yeah. But I understand what you're saying. Like some people are really good at convincing you on something.
Right?
You're called lawyers.
Yeah, but we've had leaders like that where we've been duped, right, by leaders. They're just good speakers and good personality. Have we?
Have we?
Oh, we're still getting duped.
Well, in this case, we go
I-
back to the
right.
Buddha, right? We go to the Buddha's teachings and we
Yes.
compare it. So that's a little bit different than political leaders or something, right? Yeah, so the Tangier has all different sections too. And we talk about, you know, about the Diamond Color Sutra. The monks follow the vows, the Vinaya. There's Yataka tales, which are birth stories, former lives of the Buddha. It's very nice. They're told as children's stories. And then after they study in the monastery, mainly, I guess, a lot of all these scriptures that we're studying in these courses, then they also teach things like art, sculptures, medical scriptures, painting, making mandalas, how to run a government is even in there. And I don't think it's because they want to run a government. I think it's more so people can ask them for their opinions or their help, so they have knowledge about that, so they can give them advice when needed. Yeah, so lots of different things. So then the last one of those three is it's been put to practice. Okay.
Oh, isn't that 4?
That's 3.
So teachings are by the Buddha.
Yeah.
The true, what the wise men discovered and spoke about emptiness and sifted through everything.
Yeah.
And then the commentaries.
No, so that's just inside.
Oh, so that's inside the wise men?
You can put, yeah,
Yes.
you can put it in there. Put the Kangir in with the first one, with the Buddha, what Buddha spoke, and then the Tangir is all the commentaries. So you could put that with the wise men. And then the third one is so then these wise men who have cleared it all out, get it ready, then they practice it. And when it works, brings realizations.
Are there other realizations prior to emptiness? Like emptiness is the big one that's documented.
Emptiness is the big one. There's lots of small ones before. Yeah.
Do they name those, or is that not? They're not worthy of being named?
Not too much. No. I mean, if you think about it, the steps on the path. So we have the 3, right? We have renunciation. What else?
Fortitude.
And
Wisdom.
wisdom. Yeah. So you can also call them, instead of steps, you can call them realizations. Okay. So yeah, you can absolutely realize those. And something should happen when you go home and you start to think about renunciation for a few weeks. Something should happen for you. You know, you should have some minor realizations, or maybe major ones. So it's being put to practice. That's the third one. Making sure it works, it produces results, and then it can be passed on. And that makes sense, right? If I try out different cold remedies and I find one that doesn't work, I'm not going to tell everybody about it. You know, I'm not going to tell you what doesn't work. No, I'm going to tell you, hey, you should take some ginger in your tea or whatever, right? If I find that's working for me, then I can see maybe that works for you too. But if I'm not going to talk about stuff that doesn't work. So that's the third one. So let's just have a 5-minute break, and then we'll end class with the 3 qualities of a student.
I remember deeply hidden Kokyu,
Shinto
Shinto.
Kokyu. Yeah. So it's not Kangyu.
It's not. Yeah, it's not that one. It's Shinto. There's the hidden and then the deeply hidden.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to
Okay. Okay. Every other week or so. Are you okay?
Yeah. So it's when things start picking up and growing a bit, they want to shut it down. All the tumors are in my liver. Everything's gone. The only thing left is in my lungs.
Okay.
So, right? So I'm hoping this time I can melt those away, because now it's only in one place.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not teaching. I didn't take on any more teaching.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah. That's fine. But what I thought I would do once I figure out how deeply effective we're messing with, doses and stuff, right? Anyway, how I might just do like introductions once a month at the studio. They bring people in, do it by donation, and then give it to the studios. So it's also working teaching, and then, if they pay whatever they donate, that goes to, just to a charity or something like that. But I'll talk to you about that another time. Right now, it's, for me, I'm just kind of getting my sea legs still on this treatment plan. I find I'm blessed, because each time they say, 3 months, that's all you got, 3 months, that's all you got, and each time it's a year. So, right? So it could be another 20. I just, right? Who knows? Because I don't just do what they do. I think it's everything else I'm doing. It slows everything down. Yeah. So that's how it is.
You're a strong woman.
Our kids, we just There's no option. But you know, what if the doctors believe that instead of getting shot, too, there's no alternative. The college has gone after him to shut him down. He has to retire.
Oh, really?
Gave him no choice. Say either you retire right now, or we're going to go through every one of your files because he's been giving and all free. Speaking of, you know, karma and dharma and everything, there's no way to repay a person. All these people, and in fact, where he's getting these people are bringing it in from Tehran. So it gets shipped from the United States to Tehran, and then all these people, at the goodness of their hearts, are bringing it to this doctor for free as gifts, so he can give it to people that are going through illness.
And then now he's being shut down because he's giving it for free?
Because he's technically a bone density doctor,
Okay.
right? So they're saying, well, how is that in your parameter
Right,
of the
right.
college, right? So we're going to open all your files,
Right.
or you resign.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but even when you go back and you think of what's that these are really wonderful human beings who are traveling back and forth from Iran. Right? If we don't hear, like you always hear nasty, not horrible.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite lovely. What is out there we can do for each other for no nothing.
Yeah.
For no nothing. Just
No nothing.
to do the good.
Yeah.
Do good.
Just to do
Do
good.
That's a good thing.
Logan, I can't believe you did the final already for that course.
Oh, you know,
That's
I found
not
like
an easy course.
because every week when I do the quiz, I will try to remember it because I know if I remember the quiz, then the final will be okay.
Yeah.
So that's, and then each week I'm just adding on like another quiz to remember.
Right.
And so when I'm finished, like as I get to the later ones, I'll write in my little book so that kind of the quiz questions I don't know. So like you said, well, you actually were the one who told me. I said, yeah, that's so much. And you said, oh, you just got to do it you just got to review it. So I thought you meant, so that's how I did. I did the quizzes right after, and then it seems to stick in.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that's not what I meant, but that's great.
Okay. Because you're right. If I did it at the end, I wouldn't. But because I have to do it every week, and so I'll review this homework, the quiz next week, and then so I'm kind of just adding to it.
Yeah,
so it's better I do the final exam soon after the first. If I wait 3 weeks, then I will.
You forget.
I did. I even like there was one question I thought I didn't remember that one anymore.
Yeah.
Was this the diamond cutter?
No, that's
we did
15.
The 15. That was.
When was that?
We took it in the summertime. Lama John taught it.
Yeah, I didn't teach that one. No, it was on a Tuesday night. Yeah. But it's not an easy course at all. Yeah, what I meant by reviewing is the way I do it is just taking a course. Taking a quiz and looking at it every day and then adding. Yeah.
Okay, because I would just kind of like as you're teaching this course now, I try to change some Kappa's other name is Lobsang Drakpa.
Yeah.
And then Babamka Rinpoche is Deichen Nimpo. So I figured if I can remember that after the first one, and then I just keep adding. By the time I get to the 10th, the quizzes are fine, and then the final exam is actually easier because I don't have to remember all those. There's like about 6 or 7 questions each quiz, but final exam is
Yeah,
only 2
right,
or 3.
right,
So
right.
it's, if you can do the accumulation of them,
Yeah.
then it seems to be.
Very cool. Very
And,
cool. Very
but
impressive.
you gotta just keep on it, or else.
Yeah, you gotta do it because
or
otherwise,
else it will.
yeah.
You gotta work it.
You gotta, even.
You gotta have the karma to work it.
I didn't in the beginning, but then it caught on. And as I said, that was 1 week. There was no memorization, and I remembered that week. I was like, wow, I was having all these not so good thoughts. Well, that's when I told Carol. I said, the memorization is actually a good thing because okay, let me. So we were
Focus on
memorizing offering the mandala, and that's a nice thing to do. And instead of going, it's like.
Have you ever had anything to memorize? Here's something to memorize.
Oh.
What's that?
Slowly.
That
I
doesn't
remember
excite him.
receiving that one.
What is that? Oh yes, I remember that. But I didn't memorize it because there's a lot in there I'm not sure. I don't like. There's ones I really like.
I like everything in there. My mind just will not. My karma's not.
You
meant to
tried.
translate.
You
I
tried
tried.
hard,
I
right?
did.
Yeah.
But to memorize that whole thing.
Probably if you tried again, it might work easier.
It's like a monologue.
You tried it a year or 2 ago, right? And then if
Yeah.
you try it again, you might be surprised.
Yeah, it might be.
Yeah, you have to find a way. Like for me, I would sometimes draw a picture. Like if there was a sun, I would draw a sun, and I'd have to find a way to try to remember it.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
this one is 2 lines, or it starts with. But some of them were nice because you do this memorization thing, and then it's actually 1 week, and then you don't have to anymore. You're right, that one would take a while.
Okay, let's do the students' qualities. Okay, first one is you need to be open-minded. Don't come into Buddhism with a lot of baggage of how you're going to interpret it. I liked it was an example of this Zen story, and 2 students came to a Zen master and they wanted to study with him, and the Zen master asked the one, so what do you know? And he starts telling all the things he knows, and then he asks the other student, and the other student says, I know nothing. So that's the one who got the teaching. Because you can see it as a cup, right? If your cup is already full, how is a teacher going to teach you anything, right? So your cup must be empty. Then the teacher can fill you with teachings. If you think you already know everything, then it's a waste of your time, the waste of the teacher's time, right? So can you be open and and there might be things that you don't really get or care for at that moment. Just shelf them, right? Just get back to that later. And so it's okay to not accept everything right away. But if your cup is full, if you're closed up, then yeah, it's no point, right? I one time was asked to teach something at Open Door Yoga teacher training, and I decided to teach about karma and emptiness. And there was one person that just, I don't know, he just hated me from the moment that I walked in. He didn't want to hear nothing about it. And he would interrupt the class, and he would just say what the bullshit it all was. And so that would be not very open-minded. That, it doesn't mean that he should accept whatever I'm, if that's not his thing, it's okay. That's okay. But can you then just, let the people who do want to hear it, at least receive that teaching, and just shelf it. It's like, I don't understand what you're saying. Just shelf it, but don't diss, not just this teaching, any teaching, just be respectful, because there might be people that get a lot out of it, right? So be open-minded. And we talked about the problems of the pot, I think, in the first class, right? You remember that? The pot. So the student, do you want to, can you say it?
Closed, closed pot, leaky pot, dirty pot.
Yes. So close.
Oh, I like that.
So you should not be a closed pot, a dirty pot, or a leaky pot. Meaning, if you are a dirty pot, your motivation is not pure. If you are a leaky pot, you are not retaining any of the information. And if you are closed, you're not like an empty cup, right? If you're closed, nothing can enter. Yeah, it's a good analogy. So then the second quality would be loden, meaning intelligent. So you need to have an intellectual understanding of, for instance, just being moral. That makes sense for you to be moral in life. You need to have the capacity to think deeply and to come to conclusions based on, intellectual conclusions. Work things out through logic in your mind. Something that's brought up in the class, take it home, think about it. Internalize it. And then the last one is dunyewa, meaning you are aspiring towards a higher goal. So you're worthy to study the Dharma. You are open-minded, intelligent, and hardworking. So you, in the third one, you're willing to put in the effort. You have high goals. And it's good to remind you of those, Why are you coming here? Why are you coming to these classes? What is it that you want out of this? And just have that conversation with yourself.
Taken any other Buddhism, but I know when I told my mom I was taking this Tibetan Buddhism early, just listening to the classes, she had told me, from what she knows, she said, oh yeah, the Tibetan Buddhism is known to be the one where the thinkers, when you said intelligent, they do a lot of the study, whereas there's, I don't know, more devotional or
Yeah, it's true.
ones which don't study the scriptures, they don't have to do homework.
Somehow you've landed in the one with all the lists and things. We always have so many lists.
Yeah, the 3 and the 5.
Yeah, how did that happen? Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's so many different branches, right? It's true. We do a lot of logic, a lot of thinking. Yeah. Yeah, and it's just one way, right? One is not better than the other. It's, for some reason, here in the list one. I mean, the goal is to see emptiness directly. Like that's the first major goal before becoming a Buddha. And 3, we can use our intellect to get there. We can stuff ourselves full of all this information, internalizing it, putting it to practice in our daily lives, and And at some point we need to drop it all of the information. Yeah. So being impartial, intelligent, and aspire to a high goal. That's the 3 qualities of a good student.
Impartial.
Yeah, open-minded.
That's a little different than open-minded.
Yeah. Trying not to be biased, trying to be open. And then as you study with these 3 qualities, just notice that stuff will change. This conversation with somebody on my block, house went up for sale, and the person who owns the house is a real estate person, and they put it up for sale, I don't know, a few weeks ago. And so the person was talking to me about how ridiculous it was that they put their house up for sale right when Christy Clark was doing this new tax thing where foreign buyers couldn't, I don't know. And this person gets really upset and really heated about this person that we don't even know putting up their house for sale. And I feel like just studying this stuff, like that stuff I don't worry about at all, you know. Whether that person will sell their house or will not sell their house will not depend on Christy Clark putting in a tax or not a tax, you know. They can put up their house in the worst market ever and sell it instantly if the karma is there for them to sell their house for the amount that whatever, right? Or they can put their house up for sale in the best possible time ever and the house will not sell, right? So you don't even have to spend your time thinking about people putting up their house for sale, getting upset about it, because you know after studying this stuff that that's not how it works. It's not how it works. So it's not worth my time or energy to go there, you know. But you can't say much to other people about it. All I say is, well, you don't know the reason. You don't know why they chose to put it up then. Don't know these people. Who knows, you know? Maybe they did it on purpose, waited for that moment. Maybe not. Who knows? It doesn't matter. But it's certainly not worth getting upset about. And it's kind of fun, well, you know, when stuff like that happens, to just recognize that because of my practice of doing this stuff like that wouldn't even pop up on my radar, you know. And I think another good way of seeing that, you know, practice is working is when hard stuff happens, when, I don't know, something difficult happens in your life. How do you respond to it, you know? It's a good measurement to see how your practice is going, you know?
Definitely at Open Doors, the same thing. We have requests to, oh, you know, we should do this, to, you know, we should change the way marketing looks, because then we'll get more students. And,
Right.
I'm not gonna, I definitely want them to do what they think they should do, but if they are, I'm so glad we gave that karmic management book to all the teachers. So one of the teachers was really kind of like, you guys have to do this. And I said, just read the first chapter, because he takes it out of the context of Buddhism. He's putting in this example of the car. We think we put the key in the car works. Actually, it doesn't have anything. The car doesn't work because of the key, it's because of the engine, right? When we think that, the car doesn't work, it's the key. It's not the key, it's the engine. So if we're not getting enough students, or we're not selling the sale, the special, if we did this or this, the same thing would happen.
Right.
We'll have to look at helping others to change the cause. So it's I'm so glad that that teacher had the book, and so just you might not accept, be open to it, but just read it, see if that first chapter has, because then it does, then maybe there will be less kind of like, you're not doing anything, or you should be doing that. You're to definitely do something, but whether it works is not going to be because of that. And so definitely we can apply this, and the more you this is, I think it's just learning. If you don't apply it, I think it'd just be like watching a movie or something, or reading something. But when you apply it, then you can really test it out.
Yeah. That's the best way. Yeah, and then you can see.
Yeah, it causes less. You're right about worrying. It's
you don't have to worry so much.
Well, we're going to do this, and if it doesn't work, well, it's not going to be because
it's freeing, right?
If the seed is dying, then that's what we have to accept. We'll have to plant more seeds, but then that seed might take some time. So we just got to plant seeds. Do good for the sake of doing good.
It's very freeing to live like that, because you don't have to worry so much.
Well, it is, even on our part, it is less stressful.
Yeah.
And
All right. That's it.